What is up, YouTube? This is Fortress Striker, and today I'm going to be presenting some wrestling reviews. Today's wrestling review is going to be about the Dark Wrestling series that is being provided. One of those series I will be talking about, it was just recent to be uploaded, and then my brother sent me the link just yesterday, and as I watched it today, and it's about part 1 of the Chris Benoit story. Now, before I get through this video, I have done a discussion a couple years back about the Chris Benoit tragedy and how his life was as a wrestler in the point of view, and we heard the story. If you want to go ahead and check that out, I'll leave a link in the description below, and you're hoping you guys to see that. And if you want to see it before this discussion, go ahead and pause the video, and I'll go ahead and let you enjoy the video, and then come back over here. But in the meantime, I want to give you guys my review of part 1, because they will be talking about part 2 sometime in the future. When that comes, I will do part 2 of that review. So, this review, I just finished it as we are speaking right now, and I'm actually just blown out of my mind how the story is. So, what the idea of this story is, you're going to have people who knew Chris for a long time. It's mostly going to be obviously the big famous wrestlers of this time, and they're talking about it, and it led to a narration, and one of the guys talking about it will be Chris Jericho. You also will have Vicky Guerrero, Chavo Guerrero Jr., Dean Malenko, a little bit of JR, but he's not going to be talking much, and Nancy Benoit's sister, each of them telling their side of the story of Chris Benoit, and then other stories with Nancy about her relationships with Kevin Sullivan, and how she left him for Chris Benoit, and how they gave birth to little Danny. It also led to the story with a lot with the relationship that led with Chris Benoit and his thing with Eddie Guerrero. That stuff is stuff I would love to do a review, and so I'm not going to spoil as much as I can to talk about this review, because I'd rather you guys see it. So please be advised, if you do not want to get spoiled, just go ahead and see that video. I will also leave a link in the description below. But if you want to just know about what's going to really happen, I'll just talk about certain basics, and I'm just not going to go in deep with the story, because I want you guys to see the story, because it's very effective. Now, I will tell you what my point of view of the story. It was very heartfelt. It really told about Chris's life, about how he wanted to be a wrestler, how he actually accomplished everything, how he was sick and tired of what was going on in the business with World Championship Wrestling, how the booking committee was, garbage, and how he left and became one of the most successful heavyweight champions and incredible wrestlers in the history of professional wrestling. No matter how big or small he was that very talented. And as quiet as the man was, he was very excited to be working with one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. And he was a very, very dedicated hard worker. Like, if you actually would see guys like him ever in a wrestling world, where he actually would take everything seriously, him and Eddie, because they're basically both men who actually take it serious. Like, oh, the match is not good, I gotta do better, I can't be full of shit, or sometimes I gotta punch myself. Like, even Benoit will be like, if I mess up a thing, I'm gonna do 500 squats, I'm gonna do everything, I'm gonna do 20 push-ups, I'll do all that stuff. The man actually will take professional wrestling as a serious note, because he takes it as his art. That's why he is by far, to my note, the greatest professional technical wrestler in the history of pro wrestling. And I'm very fascinated with the story. It really shows the relationships of what all the wrestlers and all the friends and he's been with for a long time, knowing how incredible as he is, and how the relationships he had with them is so beyond. And it just gets sad to the point of the story, because of a further and further, especially with along to the deaths of Eddie Guerrero, how it changed Chris Benoit's life, and what things have been going on. And again, I can't get into more details, because I do want you to go ahead and check the video itself, but the review will be complete sometime, as much as possible. Now, part 2, as I said, will come out soon, because it's going to be talking about obviously the tragedy, as that's what they're going to talk about, the story, what's going to happen. But until then, you're going to see the story about what's with Chris Benoit. It was very fascinating, it was very interesting, and it was very emotional. You will be basically crying a bit and seeing the scene what happens with Benoit being successful, and how losing Eddie was really tough. And of course, Eddie Guerrero is by far one of the greatest wrestlers in history, and being having his life been short at a younger age before turning 40 is very tragic, and it's very sad to everybody. And losing everything is very tough. It can really affect everything. The story basically kind of shows how much the wrestling world is very effective, and how it can really hurt a person, hurt their careers, hurt everything, and how it's ineffective to, more like in the business. And it's really tragic, and how hard it is. But if you're willing to do a professional wrestling still, just be very careful on how what the wrestling world is like what WWE is even going through today, becoming the brand even worse than what WCW in 2000 did when it was under the lineage of Vince Russo with the booking committee, and having to see how terrifying that company is going, while a company like All Elite Wrestling and New Japan Pro Wrestling being a huge success with what they're doing. Basically with New Japan, they never do their game changes. They've been going at it forever, and they've still been doing the best. AEW is just doing whatever they can and still being at the top, as they've been still going with their undefeated Wednesday night streak since the start of the year, and it's been really incredible to him. But as professional wrestling is really a really great yet unsatisfying job. It's really tempting, yet it's very dissatisfying to know what's really going on to this, when you hear the stories, when you know what's going backstage. And it's really tough, but it's always been interesting to learn about what these wrestling documentaries, and I've been very fascinated about it. So as much as this is I'm giving you my review, I highly again suggest go ahead, watch this pre-review, this video. The link will be in the description below, along with my previous Chris Benoit history, along with his wife and his son. You also get to see David as well as in the story as well, so you can actually get to hear his side of the story about what really happens, and it's very serious. So if you didn't know stuff about like I did, it's pretty incredible. So like I said, I won't go into details. So I hope you guys enjoyed that video, and I hope you enjoyed this review as well, as long as it's short and simple. I wanted you guys to hear my opinion, and it was very fascinating. I still can't wait for part 2, and then when that comes, we'll give you my review, and then I will explain about what's the real term, the whole idea with the person and the wrestler himself, Chris Benoit. So again, guys, I hope you enjoy this video. Give this video a like, and I will see you again sometime soon. And this is Fortress Striker, signing off.